Come budget with me as a 23-year-old engineer who lives on her own with her doggo. I'm going to show you guys different methods that I use to budget and what it looks like now. Um, I do understand everybody comes from a different place, a different stage in life financially. I've also been in some very rough financial circumstances in the past. I was that broke college kid. I was, you know, at one point living on my own with roommates, and we were digging through the couch just to find some quarters to go get a burger. You know, for a long time, Chewy ate better than I ate when I lived on my own for the first time. And so this time around, I really wanted it to do it right with the budget, because a lot of the times back then, I would often find myself changing my lifestyle or putting a lot of my lifestyle on credit cards and putting myself further and further into credit card debt that I did not need to do. If I would have just used my head and budgeted like you should. But now it's a little different. Now I'm working as a full-time engineer, and so my worldview looks a little different. But no matter where you are, no matter what stage in life you're in, you need to budget. If you live at home with your parents, you should still be budgeting. If you are making money, if you are spending money, you should be budgeting, and if not, you should be budgeting for a future when you're going to start making money and how much you want to spend. How much do you currently spend? And at least the more you look at your money, the less scary it gets. I get it. I understand the stigma behind, our Latino backgrounds, our Black and Brown communities not wanting to talk about money, because there's a lot of hard past and hard relationships with it that we either get handed down from our parents or from generations, or that we just see around us. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. That's all I gotta say, from a very hardworking family who also saw tough times. So it's not something that's foreign to me. But I also realize that if I want to live better for myself, for my future, for anybody who lives with me in the future, for any future kids I have or anything like that, I need to be able to set myself up in the right way, in the right place. So that was my little bit spiel of getting real with y'all. Now let's break it down. Let's get to the numbers, the moolah, okay? The more you look at your money, the less scary it gets, okay? That's the way I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it a bunch of times because I believe it's true. And that's how I got myself out of the hole that I was in. My expenses, I always start with budgeting my income. So, like I said, I'm a full time engineer. I work anywhere between 40 to 60 hours a week, and I work from home. It honestly kind of fluctuates just because I work on very project based, and so sometimes it'll be a really project heavy, week, or project heavy month. And so my work tends to fluctuate. I like to try and keep myself busy, so I do like to stay around the 50 to 55 hours a week. However, if I dip below, I'm at a place where that's no longer scary. I'm like, oh, okay, I worked 40 hours this week. That's cool. But I like to stay at that 40-hour mark, just because that's what I'm comfortable with. Now, when it comes to budgeting, I also like to budget at the lowest that I would get paid. So usually the lowest I get paid is around 6,400 a month. 6,400 a month is usually what would come in on the lower end, and so that's what I like to put down in my budget. I also mention I like two forms of budgeting. I recommend this for everybody. Pick your two forms that you like to use. I personally love my phone. I love an app because when I'm out and about, when I'm shopping, I can take a quick peek and be like, oh, this is how much I have left to spend on this category. And so right now I use Rocket Money. I'm not sponsored, but I do love Rocket Money. I've been using it for the past, I don't know, since November. So somebody do the math, 5 months. And so I've been using it to kind of help me gauge what I am spending my money on, what's going to be automatically taken out every month, and then how much I got left over to kind of like live life, live, laugh, love. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the first way. The second way is I like to double check. I am an engineer, so I'm in spreadsheets all day. I'm in Excel sheets all day long. So why not bring it to my regular life budget spending? But I like to make it a little cute, a little girly. I like to keep every month with a theme. I like to make it attractive, so I like to go in there and I see my little inspirational pictures and I see my color system, and it makes sense, but not over complicated. I don't got charts, I don't have graphs, I don't have pie charts, nothing like that. Keep it easy, simple about the numbers, what's coming in and out, and little pictures to make it cute and girly. That's it. And so this is kind of what my budget usually looks like. And this is where it starts, okay? Then I go in every single month, I look at my spreadsheet. Usually, when I go in for my spreadsheet, it's usually at the beginning of the month, right before the month starts, or in the week of my first paycheck of the month, and then in the middle of the month, and then at the end. So I look at it 3 different times to make sure that it is lining up with the app. And if there's ever anything that I'm like, wait, this is off, or hey, I'm kind of checking myself. Say we get halfway through the month and I have that second paycheck coming. I'm looking at myself and I'm going, hey, I spent a lot on this already. Maybe I'll spend less on this. And I'll show some examples of that right now. But that's kind of just how my brain works. Everybody's brain works differently. So I recommend 2 forms, usually an app, because you always got your phone on you, always. Second form is either you can do an Excel. Some people like it on paper, like my mom likes a schedule on paper, kind of like a journal. You know, you can use that too. There's a lot of different apps, so if you want to do a couple of different apps, that's cool as well. But there should always be 2 ways to check yourself: check your math and check to make sure everything's great. All right, now let's get into the good stuff. Come next, right? Because it's your necessities, it's the things you literally need to survive. So, of course, that has to come next. So, my rent, how much I pay in rent for my apartment, all the utilities included, and any groceries usually comes after that. So, first, starting with rent, my rent is a $1,767. I know it might seem like a little bit depending on where you are in life, or it might not seem like a lot. For my area, it's a really good deal. It also includes most of my utilities, so it includes gas, it includes Wi-Fi, it includes, all the amenities that also come in the building. So there's a gym in my building. I have a pool for when it gets nice out. Um, and it's a 1 bedroom, and it's really nice because I work from home, so I need a little bit of extra space. Plus Chewy needs some space for his attitude. But yeah, so it's really not that bad. The only thing I pay for is electricity, which comes next. On here I have it budgeted on the higher ends for 75. I have never seen it go above like $40. But I have it budgeted at 75 just in case. I like to leave a little bit buffer for the bills that tend to fluctuate and leave it on the higher end. So that way, hey, okay, say there's anything left over, it gets put into, an investment or emergency fund or something like that. But I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Next is groceries. Groceries, I also budget on the higher end. I like to do Costco trips. That's my big thing. Is Costco's not far. I don't got a car. So I like to do Costco trips, or delivery is usually my other thing. Personally, for me, it does make sense more for me to pay for somebody to Instacart or deliver the groceries to my house, rather than taking time and hours out of my work to go and buy the groceries and then walk them over here, if that makes sense, because I don't have a car. And so when I do have a car, or if my man's around, I'll be like, hey, can we go to the grocery store? But for the most part, if I'm here alone, I'm usually ordering because I'd rather take the time to actually work and get paid for said work than to go to the grocery store. Also, I just don't like going in stores. I get anxiety, okay? But that's something else. That goes into the medication.
I'm sorry, I can get ahead of myself. I'm anxiety. I'm one of Riley's new emotions.
Hola, I am Pepe. La, 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 la.
I love this car, but I don't know what side the gas is on.
Well, I think I was incredible before, and I'm incredible now, and I will be incredible forever. So
But the next thing is phone plan. We need phones to survive. I have my own phone plan now. I know a lot of adults live off of their parents' phone plan for forever, and I cannot justify it. I cannot justify it. I'm sorry, y'all. It is something that probably should only cost you like $30. If you're on your parents' like T-Mobile plan and you're using the excuse, oh, well, it's cheaper if we have a group bundle. It's not cheaper. Join Helium. I learned about it because of Caleb Hammer. Go watch him too. He's really cool. But my biggest advice is to join Helium, especially if your towers for T-Mobile are good. It's the same towers. I pay for the Infinity version, which is $30 a month. And since I own my phone outright, like, it really just makes sense. Also, if you don't own your phone outright, what are you doing? What are you doing? You do not need the latest iPhone. It's literally the same technology. Like, if it works, it works. It's a phone. Like, it don't gotta be anything crazy. Come on now. And $30 a month? Come on now. Come on. $30. That's like going out one time in a month to eat dinner or some shit. Anyway, moving on. I have to pay renter's insurance, $23. It's with the building. It's just what you gotta do, you know. Subscriptions, I have a little bit on the higher side. I do 95, and that's just because I got a lot of subscriptions. Okay, that's actually cut down from that's actually cut down from a lot more subscriptions, but I've cut it down using Rocket Money. Rocket Money has been a huge tool on seeing, hey, this is what you get reoccurring every month. This is what's coming in every month, and this is how much that subscriptions look like. Personally, I'm in the position where I can afford to pay for my subscription, so I can afford to pay for my Peacock so I can watch The Office, or I can pay for my Google storage. That's a huge one. I use it for my photography business, for YouTube, for all this stuff. So I need my Google, I need my Gmail and my Google Photos down pat, unlocked. So I pay for that. Okay, so there's some subscriptions that I pay for. However, I am very smart and strategic about my subscriptions. If I just got this beautiful PC over here and I started gaming on this, I'm not paying for the PlayStation Plus anymore because I'm not going to be playing on it. And as soon as I got the PC and as soon as I got games running on it, as soon as I started playing on Steam, I canceled the other one because it makes no sense to have two things going at once if you're not using one of them, you know. Or if I don't really use HBO Max as much, other than watch, you know, Game of Thrones, but I've seen all of Game of Thrones. I've seen all of House of Dragons, so it kind of just sat there, and Smiling Friends hasn't come out again yet, so
Look like us.
Yeah, they just look like us.
Man, shut up, man. You're trying to trick me, man. Put smoke into my freaking head and shit, man. Not at all, man. Man, I don't know what to think no more, man.
Okay, let's de-escalate. No one's messing with your head.
Get out of me
Nobody's messing with your head.
Get out of me
Let's just put... No, nobody's messing with your head, man.
Nobody's messing with your head.
So we're waiting for that, and then I'll get it for a month, watch all the Smiling Friends, and then unsubscribe. It saves you money, and you might be like, oh my god, that's so much. It's not that much work. You're on your phone when you're on the toilet. How long does your shit take? Because I'm sure however long it takes you to shit, it'll take you to unsubscribe to something and you save some money. Okay? There you go. No excuses. The next thing on my list for bills is my car is currently in storage, and they charge me $75 for that. That's a bill because that's my baby and it goes into my bills. Next is obviously my other baby, which is Chewy training slash supplies. Yeah, that's it. Chewy he needs some training supplies. His dog food is kind of funded into my groceries. I put that a part of that, so that kind of all goes together. It's just how it makes sense for me because that's my dependent. Okay, that's yeah. He goes to daycare too, so he's literally a child. He's literally he's just a baby. He's just a baby. Okay, leave my baby alone. He's just a baby. Moving on next. Health, medical, medication. I gotta stay medicated. Okay. Transportation. I walk everywhere. Today I walked like 5 miles total because our feet were made for walking. I don't know. Also, my dog walks a lot, but I walked around the whole city today, just getting around. And when I'm tired of walking, I'll either grab on the train because I like trains, or get on the bus, or ask somebody to pick me up if they're nearby. If it's not, they say. The next thing I jump into is savings. And some people like to jump into debt next, but I do not like to jump into debt next because I think savings just gives me a little bit of peace of mind. And no matter what, you have to budget for savings, no matter what, you have to budget for debt. But if I am budgeting just a little bit extra into that savings pot, I'm feeling a little bit better because, should anything happen to me, should anything happen, to me working or anything like that, I have a little pool of money that's just sitting there, just, and she's not doing nothing. The way that savings works in my head, right, is that if I see it and I can touch it and I can move it around all willy nilly, it's not actually going to be saved. I used to have, which is what most people used to have or still do have, is a regular checking account, a regular savings account, and one credit card. That was how I operated my life. But oftentimes what ended up happening is I would put, money into my credit card to pay that down, then money into my savings account, and then I wouldn't have enough money in my checking account, so I would transfer it back to my, back from my savings to my checkings, and then they just keep bouncing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and you're not really saving nothing. It's just another checking account. You're just, and so everybody talks about high yield savings account. When my dad first told me about it, I rolled my eyes. It's just another savings account. It is not just another savings account. News flash. Newsflash. It's not another savings account. A regular savings account makes you no money. It's the same thing as if you were to take the cash out and put it under your mattress. We don't live in times like that anymore. You should maybe still have that. I still got coins. Look at this. I still got coins. My little safe. Yeah, I still collect my change. I got 2 of those. Okay, I still do that. I get it. But not with my big bills. I keep coins, not big bills. Also, I'm not out here shaking my booty. So when do I have cash out here? No, I don't. Everything is done online. Anyway, you are growing your money. It's not doing anything in there but growing, okay? And that's the difference between a regular savings account and a high yield savings account. You're making money for your money just sitting there. And okay? When I tell you, you start to notice it. You start to notice it. So I opened a high yield savings account, right? And I started putting just a little bit of money in there, just a little bit when I was reaching the end of college. I just put a little bit of money in there. And every now and then I would go and check, And I would go and check in my account and look at, oh my God, you got interest. But instead of interest being a bad thing, it's a good thing. It gave you money back. It looks like you got income. You got like $2 or something. Well, guess what? What's 2 times 12? That's $24. Okay? Right? So you made $24 by having what? Hold on. I need to do math. I'm not a mental math person. I'm an engineer, but I'm not. You're making money, is what I'm saying. My second thing about savings is that it should be automatic. And by automatic, I don't mean if you're going in and you're being boop, transfer to savings, boop, that's not automatic. Automatic means you don't see it. You don't got to do anything about it. Nada, nothing. It just happens. And so what I do is I have a whole other account because also I think personally, if you're that kind of person that just has one checking, one savings, whatever, good for you, great for you. That's not how my brain works. I have two checkings account, two savings account, each with purposes. Okay, they have things that they got to do, right? So acorns, acorns. I've had acorns since I was like 19, and it was another thing. My dad said, "Get acorns. You should start investing," and I said, "I roll." Because hello, I'm a 19-year-old. I know everything. No, I did not know nothing. I still don't know everything. But I said, okay, whatever. I looked into it. I opened a checking account with them and I opened a savings account with them. Then I also opened an investments account and a retirement account, a Roth IRA. Okay? It gets so confusing when you first get into it. Everybody's talking about what's a Roth IRA, what's a 401k, what's investment, what do I need to know, what is a high yield savings account. The more you expose yourself to money, the more you get it. Okay? The more you expose yourself to your money, the less scary it gets. I'll say it again. The more you expose yourself to money, the more you understand. Okay? The more you expose yourself to your money, the less scary it gets when you're moving it around, especially. And so, what I have my money do is that every paycheck, this paycheck of $3,200, I'll get divided. It won't go all into one checking account. Okay? It'll go 80% into my main checking account, then 20% straight into my Acorns account. And then my Acorns account will automatically, by percentages, whatever I have it set to, it'll go into investments, it'll go into retirement, and it'll go into savings. And that's how you actually save money because you don't have to think about it. And those, by the way, are all earning money by just sitting there. Okay? They're all earning money by just sitting there. It's just at different rates and at different points in your life that you'll actually see it, actually use it, and figure out how to use it as a tool. Okay? So make everything automatic if you can. I am a little bit scarier when it comes to credit cards, but for savings, make it automatic because then you don't even think about it. When I see that 3,200, I don't see that hit my bank account because it goes to my other bank account, right? And so I just see whatever is left over. And I'm like, okay, now I have this much. All my bills are paid. Okay, I don't even see savings. Savings doesn't even, it's like an afterthought. It's like, oh yeah, that much went there. Cool, great. But that's the money I don't touch. It's not touched. It's not thought about. I look at it once a month, and that's it. That's it. I look at it. I say, oh, look, my investments are growing. Oh, look, I actually have a retirement. Oh, look, my savings goal is getting there. And sometimes it'll shock me. I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that much was in there. But hey, I'm still not gonna touch it because let it sit. The longer you let it sit, the more it does. Okay? The more it earns. All right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Great. Great. I have it split off is what makes sense to me, right? Because my main priority right now, that's the other thing. When you have your money, you need to have a goal. You need to have short term, long term, midterm goals, right? And so my short term goal is to pay off all my student loans. I want them done. I don't want to think about them. I don't want nothing to do with them. Okay? I want them done. So I am on them. I beat the shit out of my student loans because guess what? I don't want them nowhere near me. I want them to be afraid of me. Come on now. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's talk about it. My battery running low on my phone. It's good enough. Anyway, let's move over because that's the next one. That's the next thing is debt. Debt. Clap for Layla. She just got out of credit card debt 2 months ago. 2 months ago, I racked up some credit card debt. Not that bad as I've heard some people rack up credit card debt, but I racked it up. And what I mean as racking it up is you are earning interest because you are not paying your balance to zero. And so that's what I mean by racking it up, okay? And if you are not paying your balance to zero every single month, baby, you got credit card debt. That's how I think about it. That's to make it as easy as possible. We're not going to talk about nothing complicated over here. We're going to keep it easy as possible. If when your statement balance hits, my hits every 10th of the month, they say, hey, on the 10th of the month, that's when your statement closes. That's your statement. It closes. If that number ain't zero, I'm in credit card debt. And I don't like that. I don't like credit card debt one bit because it scares me. And so what do we do with shit that scares us? We beat the fuck out of it. We get it down as fast as possible. We do not avoid it. We don't run scared of it. No, we not. Not on my watch. Not on your watch. Okay, that's not where we from. We don't run scared. So we take a look and we look it in the face, and we say that credit card debt is probably the highest interest rate, highest APR you're looking at. That's the highest interest rate. It is racking up negative balance on its own, right? On its own, especially if you're spending on it. Okay, then you're doing double damage. You're doing a lot of damage. And so I was able to cut it all the way down to zero. One, because I was able to cut out things and I was like, hey, I don't need that. I work from home. I don't need coffee every morning. I make my coffee here. I work from home. I'm not door dashing lunch. I'm not door dashing dinner. I eat here. Hey, if I do need to go out and go somewhere, I'm packing my lunch. I'm packing my coffee. I buy my energy drinks in bulk because buying in bulk does actually save you money. It saves you tax money. Every time you go, right? We walk into a CVS, into a Walgreens, and we buy an energy drink. And what? It's like $2.75, kind of, maybe $2, right? But then you got taxes because it's taxes, right? So you're paying tax for one little thing, one little thing. But that adds up. If every single day you're going in and you're getting another one and you're getting another one, that adds to tax. If you want energy drinks, buy them in bulk. If you want Gatorade, I buy my Gatorade in bulk. Because guess what? It's easier. And also, this has a lot of sugar in it. You don't need a whole big thing of Gatorade unless you are an Olympian or like super duper duper like putting in work, sweat and bullets. You need the electrolytes. You do not need a whole big thing. This is probably more than enough. And this I only use, I be working out, by the way. Okay. I do. That's not me being funny. That's just, yeah, I do work out. But do you get what I'm saying? Rather than pay it every single day you're paying the tax, right? You just pay it once and you get so much more. Okay? So that's how I was able to pay that down. And the second one was not spending on it. Okay? And it became really hard because I would hit the max and then I'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm at the max. I can't spend on it anyway." And then I had to realize, wait, if I want to get this all the way down to zero, if I really want to get this all the way down to zero, I gotta stop spending because I'll pay it down like 50%, and then I'll rack it back up to 100, and then I'll pay it down, and I'll rack it back up to 100, and then it hit me. If it's not hitting zero every month, I'm paying interest. That's just as bad as me going in every day, grabbing a little something, getting paid the tax. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. Except for you don't see it because it's hidden in those little charges. And if you're afraid of your bills, if you're afraid of your credit card debt, and you're not looking, guess what? It's beating the fuck out of you. It's beating the shit out of you. You out here, you know what I'm saying? But you need to take it back. Take it back. Roundhouse kick that debt. Cause what are we doing? What are we doing? There's too many tools out there in this day and age to be in this much a stupid debt. Okay? Thank you. Okay? Student loan debt is a whole different thing. Everybody has their different perspectives on student loan debt. Personally, I took on that debt. I signed off on it. I am responsible for my student loan debt. And a lot of the reason why is because I wanted to finish school fast. Now, for me, it was a smart choice, right? Because I went into a field that I know I was going to make money in. I'm an engineer. I'm doing good. I'm doing fine for myself. I'm doing fine for myself. So I said, yes, I will take out this student loan, but I have a due date. I have a due date. I have a due date like I'm pregnant. Okay? I'm not. But that's how urgent it is. It said, okay, I need 11 to 12 months to get all this private student loan debt. Federal, different. We're just talking private, the one with a really big, scary interest. All right. Private student loan debt, I'm paying it off. And that's why it's so high. That's why that number is so high because it's the same thing. We're attacking it. We're attacking it like the plague. And if your debt column, your total debt column, your spending is higher than this debt column, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. It's okay for your bills column to be higher because that should be higher. That's your living. That's what you need to get on with your day every single day. That's what you need to do to live, to feel alive, to go to therapy, right? This expenses, that's optional. That is optional. That can be cut down. But if that is higher than your debt, you got a problem. If it's higher than your savings, that's fine. Your savings is you're slowly chucking at it. You're slowly chucking at it, right? But this is how I budget for the most part. I did have some questions that I'm gonna answer right now. From Instagram, I put out a little question. If you haven't gone to follow me on Instagram, I feel like I'm much more funny there because you get straight up feedback. Yeah. But I got some questions, so I'm gonna answer them because shout out y'all. And if you listen this far, shout out you. So you deserve your questions answered. One of the question is, what is the hardest thing to budget for you for your personal needs? This one actually ties in for me to kind of therapy. Um, it ties into therapy. It really does because, like I said, I have a problem with spending more on other people than I do myself outside of my basic needs. So I will wear my sneakers out until they break. I won't. It's kind of just a habit, right, of growing up. I will try not to spend out of what's necessary unless it's an event or an occasion, like it's my birthday or I'm going on vacation or something like that. And even when going on vacation, I need to like push myself to kind of spend that money on those things without feeling guilt about it. So when it comes to the hardest thing, I would say it's usually spending on like clothes or shoes and trying to figure out where to spend that. And that's usually in shopping. And I will tell you, if I underspend on anything, it's usually my shopping column. yeah, is usually my shopping column. So if something else goes up, I usually take it out of the shopping budget, and I'm like, oh, I don't need to get this that month, or I don't need this month. And so I've been really working with my therapist, where she sent me a list of like, girl, this is exposure therapy. You need to go out and buy yourself this something, not just your necessities, but something that's gonna make you feel good. But that's not gonna but that's not gonna break the bank. Like, I'm not gonna go buy a Louis V fucking purse or something like that. No, but spending more on myself in terms of material things can be a little difficult. So yeah, so that's something I'm working on, and it's really hard to commit to that budget of spending that on myself. Um, Roughly, how much is your rent without bills? Like I said, it comes out to around 1,700, 1,800 if you want to round up, but that includes most of my utilities, just not electricity, and it also includes my Wi-Fi, which actually runs pretty decent. It can be a little laggy sometimes, but for the most part, it runs pretty good. And my building has so many amenities, so and it's in a good location. Those are all the pluses. So yeah, and it's in Chicago. How do you even start learning about how to manage your money, investment, savings? I started learning a lot more when I graduated high school and I started working. Um, and the biggest thing that I learned is that all the info you need is out there. It's out on YouTube, it's out on Instagram, it's out on all these different platforms on TikTok. But the thing is, you need to find creators that resonate with you and that are not going to tell you no get rich quick schemes, because you fall down that rabbit hole, you're going to put a lot of energy and money into something that, you know, it's like hitting a lottery. It's you're putting a little thing out there. And so you need to find creators that have the background, that have the trust. So my favorite two at the moment for money management is Your Rich BFF. I really like listening to her for when it comes to long term, and building long term wealth. That's what I like to listen to. And she starts exposing you to the kind of that language and what you can start doing today in terms of investing. And then the other one I really like listening to is Caleb Hammer, that I mentioned before. He has a really good platform that just shows what budgeting looks like for everyday people. And also, he shows a lot of different examples of like, hey, if you are doing this, stop. If you are looking at these people and being like, why do they spend on that? Or how do they not even know how much money they make? And then you go, wait, do I even know how much money I bring in every month? Or wait, do I know how much I spent on, Dunkin' this month, on shopping this month? And if you cannot answer the questions from the top of your head, or if you cannot pull your phone out and be like, yeah, this is exactly how much I spent, you're a part of the problem. Um, you just are. You're a part of your own problem to yourself. That's all I'm gonna say. But that's kind of how I learned. So start exposing yourself. I will try and make more financial videos because I do enjoy it, and it's a learning process, and there's so much to dive into in this world. Um, but I'm getting my toes wet. Yeah. But they're painted and they're pink. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah. Mwah.